10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Set and ready to have a little bit of fun, unofficially kicking off the weekend. You know something? Screw that. We're officially kicking off the weekend. Welcome to the Shooters Gallery, live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net. Thank you to everybody tuning in this evening through all the various methodologies up and down the network. Glad to have you on board. Even going to try to open up the chat. Actually, chat room's always open over at BeyondRingside.com. However, sometimes we actually remember to check on it and wave hi and all that good stuff over there. I am the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne, or at least what's left of him after this week. Like to welcome in tag team partner Shane Noles.
Also picking up the pieces of a very tough and trying week, but this is one of the highlights of my week, is doing this program with you guys. Hope everyone is doing well.
Welcoming in tag team partner, the president of wrestling, Phil Stamper.
How are you doing, sir?
It's been strange, but you know something? I live for strange. I really do. Yeah. Speaking of strange, how strange was it either midnight Saturday night or Sunday morning when it all sank in after Civil War from Grand Slam?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm the president of wrestling. Nothing changes that.
I know, but I do believe that everything is back in place for the championship committee in the front office instead of everything going through you.
There might be a little bit of that for the moment. It's a temporary setback.
Just a temporary setback.
Temporary.
There you go. For those who missed it, last week, Saturday night, May 13th, Grand Slam Wrestling hosted Civil War. It's happening again, damn it. I had it. Civil War. And unfortunately, the United Stamper Alliance, shall we say, ended up in a very precarious circumstance, coming up a touch short.
Was that a joke? Was that some kind of attempt at humor?
No, it was on a real evaluation. Did the Stamper Alliance get their hand raised in victory or not?
There was not that happened.
Okay. But I'm sure, knowing you, there will come another day, right?
Of course.
He says, with my stutter, that's my gimmick. And speaking of Civil Wars, even though it is not entitled that, Shane, you are going to be in the middle of one this coming Saturday night. Carrollton, Georgia, VFW Fairgrounds, in the middle of a triple threat match. Amazingly enough, as we put things together and all the contracts were signed, you will be contending for the first time for the No Limits Championship in a triple threat this weekend.
I don't know what has come over the people in the front office at Peach State, but I look across the ring this Saturday and I'm going to be seeing the top-tier talent, Drew Adler, and the No Limits champion representing the Kingsman, O'Hagan. Unfamiliar territory for yours truly.
Well, and here's the funny part about this, and this is one that I actually have to sit back and kind of smile about. And I'm in the position of being the commissioner for Peach State Wrestling Alliance. When I had the idea for these matches, you know, there were situations in play where there were going to be strange bedfellows as far as the triple threats go. But once again, I have to sit back and say, at least I know exactly, I can't say exactly how things are going to turn out. Because you're dealing, I mean, you have been stunning everybody with the continued increase in acumen and physical prowess inside the squared circle. In other words, folks, he's become damn good. And then you've got...
Well, I'm getting better, and I think that's going to be put to the test this Saturday.
And then add to the mix O'Hagan, the current No Limits champion, mixed martial arts background, great technical wrestler, but also one hell of a brawler. And then you've got the top-tier talent, Drew Adler, another one of those cases where he knows how to use his size, but also combines speed and great technical know-how as well, and is not afraid to throw hands at the drop of the hat. So I know the three of you, believe it or not, with the exception of the physical side of it, you're probably pretty well matched in that regard. And that was something that I was looking for. And remember, something that, okay, I get accused of this all the time, But this time I'm going to come clean. I wanted Shane to have a new chapter in the challenge of his evolution inside the squared circle. And that's straight up. That's legit. That's no BS. Because I know the conversations we've had. You want to continue to grow as a pro wrestler. And the only way that you can continue to grow is to continue to take on brand new challenges and brand new, different people, different faces, right?
That is correct. Yeah, I wasn't complaining about if anyone was mistaken on uncharted territory. I'm excited about this. I like stepping out of my comfort zone. And, there's a hot button topic we'll get to, but I can't help but bring it up into this. I've had some fans mention this to me. Are you going to change your style? Depending on who you're in the ring with this Saturday with O'Hagan and Drew Adler, I guess the hot button issue from last week. And I've said, I'm not going to change anything. I may throw a new wrinkle in there, but I'm certainly not going to go and say, well, now I'm working in the no limits division. I better try to step way out of my comfort zone. That ain't happening.
See, and this is the funny part about it, folks. All three of us either are or have been in-ring talent. Me, of course, back before cable TV was genuinely invented, but we won't hold that against Father Time. Or Bill Behrens, who is close enough to be Father Time. From there, we all know that when you face a different adversary who comes in with a different skill set, we modify what we do. We adapt to the situation, but we don't change, because the minute we change, we put ourselves in, here's those words again, uncharted water for our own physical and personality base. And that puts us at a disadvantage when we make that drastic a change, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Correct. I mean, I always say stick with what brought you to the dance.
And I always sit back and use the title from Montana Cafe, Hank Williams Jr., and Huey Lewis. Never judge a book by looking at the cover. Because this book has a ton of chapters, a lot of which are still being written. Trust me on that one, kids. I'm looking forward to Saturday night, and I really wish I could have been. You know how it goes. And by the way, before I go any further, I know how I sound a lot of times when I make references to having prior commitments in place. I want to say once again, as I said this past Sunday, a very heartfelt thank you, and also on Snapchat too, a very heartfelt thank you to Steve and Laura for having me back to DJ a birthday party for another one of their children, Sweet 16. And Lily, congratulations, happy birthday. Had the honor and the privilege of being the DJ for her Sweet 16 this past Saturday night in a nice little town called Fayette, Alabama. I've had family and I've had relatives up in that little corner, Carbon Hill, Fayette, all the way through for years. And it's just, there's times when it almost seems like a homecoming making my way back up through Carbon Hill and Fayette. So you know how it goes. And once again, another one of those circumstances. And we've all, I'm sure, had that experience with Small Town Saturday Night. Now, granted, I've got my co-host probably in a combined age bracketing, but still, yes, I'm that old. I was a DJ before tooth enamel, okay? And I'm gonna throw this one out to both of y'all. Have you ever, when's the last time you went to a small town where they legitimately roll up the sidewalks at sunset? And I'm not knocking anything. I'm really not. I'm just saying it was cool as hell for the experience all over again, because it's been forever since I've done that. 10 o'clock p.m. Central Time. You can hear the traffic signals change, if that tells you anything. You got a couple of kids riding around on bike, and one car passed in front in the 15 minutes that I was just standing there surveying the situation. When's the last time you had an experience like that just puts you in ultimate chill mode for a minute or two? Phil?
I would say probably when I went to see Andy Griffith's birthplace in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
There's a pro wrestling promotion there every once in a while, too, and we'll cover that one in future days to come because I get information from them, too. Shane, when's the last time you had that experience?
I just had a thought. I hope that promotion's name is MCW Mayberry Championship Wrestling, because I would pop for that.
There is an Pancake House.
Oh, nice. In my neck of the woods, that's pretty commonplace. There's some little towns like that not far from me within 20 to 30 minutes, where it's still like that. Yeah, where there's no late night, there's no shindigs going on after the sun goes down. Things close by 9 Eastern or 9 o'clock Central Time, and it is a peaceful, cool, collected atmosphere.
You know, I really have to sit back and say this is one experience that everybody needs to have. I don't care if you're from small town USA or if you live in a, top 10 television and radio market. Everybody needs to have that one little moment where it's just all in proper perspective. And there are so many different ways I could go right there. It's just, like I said, it was ultimate to be able to get back to that for a second and just enjoy the silence. Thank you, Dave Gahn and Depeche Mode. Yes, there's a Depeche Mode reference here tonight on the Shooters Gallery, kids.
Nice.
We made Shane made the allusion to a hot button topic, and this one's been going around for about a week. And I'm very reticent about the way that I handled something earlier this week on Corner to Corner. For those who don't live in a cave and don't live under a rock and actually have internet in one capacity or another, including social media, you probably saw in one form or another the commentary laid out by the hustler Rip Rogers. Man that I've worked with before, tremendous individual, probably one of the most colorfully languaged individuals. And yes, I just created the term colorfully languaged. Let's just say Howard Stern, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, and George Carlin can't drop that many F-bombs in 30 minutes as Rip Rogers did during an interview on Wrestle Rage. I was impressed. Two Live Crew would have been impressed. But I joke in that regard, but while being serious at the same time. And Rogers, on social media, put something out there that we've actually talked about either on the Shooters Gallery or on Back to Basics before, the Tuesday conversation. And it has a lot to do with the mindset of people in the industry right now and how the business, to a degree, has changed. Some would say for the better, some would say not for the better. And after a few minutes, Randy Orton, of all people, and I'm not saying that with disdain, I'm saying it with surprise, because when I saw Randy's follow-up to it, I was actually quite amazed. First off, amazed that he actually decided to weigh in on this, and quite surprised to weigh in the way he did. Now, going around the table, let's go ahead and take it up, and I'm going to go in cleanup position on this one, but Shane, I will assume that by now you have managed to see both Rip and Randy's commentary.
I have. I will say this, if I step on any toes, I don't mean to. I'm just stating facts from what I've seen. I'm amazed at the number of workers in this industry that have got genuinely butthurt. I mean, up in arms, you would think the sky is falling over some comments that were made. And as you alluded to, this is not something that we haven't reached on this very program or on Beyond Ringside in some way, shape, or form. But I would certainly think this has gone on among us in locker rooms or conversations with other people in the business. The wrestling business has evolved, much like music, movies, and sports have evolved. Sports are not played the same way they were in the 1920s and 50s. Music isn't the same 70s and 80s. Neither is movies and television. Wrestling is no different. Now, whether that means you're a fan of older style wrestling or new style, well, I shouldn't say new style, but this, I'll just go ahead and say it, what Rip and what Randy were calling this indie, spot fest, pretty much is what they were alluding to. And I think about this, wrestling, even though it was different, say, in the 1980s, wouldn't we all agree that Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat on that very same WrestleMania 3 card was a hell of a lot different than Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan 30 years ago?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like that's been a new thing. I mean, throughout cards, I can look and see, even in the 1990s, you would say Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were completely different than, say, The Undertaker and Manitar or something to that effect. There's always been variety. I mean, the old adage has been wrestling is the circus. Hopefully no two acts are the same, and there's a little bit of variety for everyone. Growing up as a fan, there were certain wrestlers that just didn't appeal to me, but I would still watch. But I mean, I watched for the ones that I was invested in. I don't think that's any different now, because I think there's some people that don't give. I'll just go ahead and say it. They don't give.
Shane, if you can hear me, you broke up. Do it again.
Joe. Then you get. I'm sorry.
Shane,
then you've got. I said there's some that may not care for anything that's going on with Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, big guys with the power style, that may just for whatever Seth Rollins or Samoa Joe's going to do. Or Vince, I'm just kidding, that love the big men. Any different? I've never really met a wrestling fan or someone that just liked wrestling as a television show. We don't really hear about variety shows that much, like the most or whatnot. But I do think pro wrestling on television is a variety show. No two acts really are the same. There's a little something different for everyone. In a 3-hour program, I wouldn't expect. I mean, that's great if you're going to find that. If somebody's hot for every single aspect, every single segment, every single program, every single worker. But come on, let's be real. That's not going to happen. But going back to what I first said, I've just been amazed at social media, the number of workers that, I mean, you think they'd want to burn Randy Orton's house down. I mean, I think Randy had a valid point. I think he was trolling to some extent, and, it worked. It got the desired effect. But myself, I'm a fan of both different styles. I love to watch. I'm not ashamed to say, 12 years ago, I drove to the Zamora Shrine Temple over in Eddie Layne's neck of the woods, specifically to see AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe on an independent show promoted by Linda Marks, Wrestle Birmingham. There were other, but I just as much enjoyed the old school of Road Dogg Jesse James versus Loverboy Dennis Condrey. But I mean, that may be the fan in me that appreciates both styles, and I'm not coming off noble, high, and mighty. I hope not. I appreciate both. I want there to be variety. And I actually posted this on my Facebook, I think, earlier in the week. It was a meme of someone about to shout and scream about it and someone holding their lips and saying, shh, just let people enjoy things. I wish we could.
I understand that concept oh so well. Phil Stamper, come on in.
So, I hate this topic because for me, it's kind of like, it's what you said. It's a variety. It has to be a mix. You can't get all of the same. And I think that's where this all started from, because it wasn't even Rip Rogers who started it. It was a Canadian wrestler who started it, and Rip Rogers responded to it.
Oh, there you go.
And it just kept going on from there. And it's insane to me because, and I do agree, if you're always formulaic all the time for everything that you do, it just doesn't work. And I don't mean formulaic in the people in the know who understand what I mean by that in the structure of a match. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, all right, Les Thatcher, who is what? I don't even say his age. Maybe that's wrong. Let me not go there, because that I'll probably get hit in the head the next time I see him.
Probably will.
But, Les Thatcher, who, oh yeah, by the way, he was running a training camp with him, Harley Race, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, people who are very esteemed and well-known in the world of professional wrestling. And he made a very valid point about, there shouldn't be a rear chin lock in every match. Why is there a double clothesline in every single match? That there are certain things that, just when you talk about how an event runs and how it's perceived and looks on television, wow, it can come out really bad if it's not put together well. And I agree with that. I do agree with that sentiment that was said about the whole 5,000 high spotty things. Everybody has to feel like they're the big strong man in the match, and then you end the match, everybody has to handshake and hug, because again, this is very similar concept. If that is always what is happening in every single match, then that's ridiculous. I remember not too long ago in a huge conversation at 2 different events, almost back to back, where people were very upset that they couldn't lose in a way that wasn't clean. that they wanted to make sure that there was everybody but God involved in the match to show like, well, look, I'm still strong. I lost because somehow the Earth rotated on its axis the opposite direction when Superman came down, but got decapitated by Spider-Man, who somehow threw a web at a chair and a fan tripped somewhere next door in North Towanda, New York, and therefore I lost the match. Like, what? No, you just lost. It's a wrestling match. It is a fight. Some people win, some people lose. How you get there, it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't happen the same way it happens all the other time. It has to be a variety. It has to be a mix. Something that I think in the world of Mr. Orton, who I will honestly say, as a person, is not my favorite person, who just, it's not there for me with him. I can appreciate some of the things that he can do. He is just not my guy. This is somebody who grew up in the world of wrestling. He grew up in the business. His father is a WWE Hall of Famer. When Randy Orton had his opportunity at WWE, he went AWOL from the military. Oh yeah, got arrested, has spent time in jail, and then got a WWE contract out of it. So, I'm sorry if I don't feel that he suffered through hardship to, get his spot and opportunity, because he didn't. And, that takes some people by offense because, wait a minute, from what aspect and experience are you speaking of? Because you only live the aspect and experience that you've always sort of had. Where have you extended and pushed yourself and reached out? And, Randy kind of took the extra effort to make a slap and a dig at independent wrestlers, which is really interesting considering the fact that the WWE is using more independent wrestling, or I should say, using more and more people who are typically from the world of independent wrestling or are known in that area, and then bringing them up into the televised product that is the WWE. So that's interesting that he would take such a quick pot shot in that respect, and he is what escalated the situation to a whole new level. And why he did that, why he made that decision is unbeknownst to me, and that's what kind of drives me crazy. Like, you did it to take a shot at people, and is it because you're concerned about your spot? Or are you concerned about the people that you are in your own company with because people are going ooh and ah to them? Is it a matter of you're tired of people talking about the world of independent wrestling as if it's bigger than the WWE? Because it's not. Let's face it, the world of independent wrestling is not bigger than the WWE. Though more and more people are getting more and more known for being, quote, independent wrestlers, even if that has meant that they have left the WWE and having quite a successful time financially, maybe not as high as a Randy Orton, maybe not as high as a John Cena, Kevin Owens, but they're doing okay. They're traveling the world themselves. Is that a part of the reason why he did it? And that kind of concerns me. It's like, if anybody growing up then in the product that is stylized like the WWE is, you should more than anybody know that it is a variety program. You more than anybody should know that the WWE is not wrestling on television. It's a television show that, oh yes, sometimes has wrestling on it. And the fact that you kind of went that direction, I think only used it to capitalize on, hey, I'm a dick. Because he's not a heel right now in the world of the WWE. So he just did it not to kind of prove, something that has to do with his character or whatever. He just did it to be a dick. And that's what more annoys me. That's where I'm stuck at. I'm over the whole flip, dive, handspring, jump over the moon, come back down, repeated in every match, handshake and a hug. Because A, it shouldn't happen in every match. I do think there is a place for the matches that are stylized like that. I'm more offended by Randy Orton. And I rambled. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. If Randy Orton wasn't the current SmackDown Live champion, would he have made that post as smugly as he did? I'll say no.
Oh, well, he definitely, he used the opportunity to take a shot on Raw and the money that they made while they were on the trip. And yeah, he's the top guy on SmackDown right now.
No, he's not. He just happens to be the champion. He just happens to be the primary belt holder. I'm sorry. Let me get this one before I start taking my shots at Randy Orton. Screw that. Randy Orton, who has been one of the more condescending, judgmental, overly opinionated, one-dimensional, self-serving, God, I sound like I'm describing me. And the way I put things in perspective for Orton, this is the guy who's managed to stop how many pushes, to quell how many uprisings, who has managed to get certain people released from their deal with WWE.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, I know. Ken Anderson, prime example, called him brittle, and then proceeded to get hurt twice within 2 years. And wellness policy violations as well. And then, not to mention, did what I called the unexcusable. When there was I'm not going to use the word botch, when there was a missed moment, proceeded to call Kofi Kingston stupid 3 times on camera in the ring during a live show. You don't do that. You do not have.
Brat has always been a spoiled brat.
Yeah, he's
to
in
the
my
point that you bring up. If I'm not mistaken, he's one wellness policy violation away from not having that cushion contract he so richly enjoys right now.
And I will sit back and I'll say this one point blank. There are, depending on where you train, there are 2 things that you do not want to be. One, a second or third generation. Because for some reason, legacies have a tendency to think their ish don't stink. My dad was, my mom was, my uncle was. I don't care. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would dare say there are times when legacy, now depending on WWE, it's like, hey, take care of the kid for me, okay? Let's get him trained. Let's get him in the ring. Doing a favor for his dad and his granddad. Whereas in my book, can you say finally broke the wall down? No relation to Chris Jericho, and no, I'm not on the list. It took me forever to get the ear of someone who I actually was able to convince that I was serious about doing this. But once I got in, that was a different animal. How many times did I throw up? Yeah, we're there. But by the same token, see, I also come back to a couple of things that are more direct and blunt. We live in an era where there are 2 trains of thoughts. Number 1, respect the industry. Respect the business. Respect where it's come from. Appreciate where it is. And try to ride the wave and respect where it's going. Number 2, the other train of thought. I paid my $1,500. I'm trained. I can say whatever the hell I want to. I can do whatever the hell I want to. And Eddie, just go ahead and get ready to bleep this one now. My favorite thing to hear, and when I hear it, I want to slug somebody. Hey man, can I get my shit in? Can I get my spot in? Can I get my stuff in? Nothing irks me more than that. Why? Because if you're working with somebody and showing that you're going to work with them, that ain't going to be an issue to begin with. But it also depends on exactly how your program is going to go. I agree with the concept that people have a tendency to not want to look weak. I can't lose in my hometown. Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can. If Bayley can drop the women's championship on Raw in her hometown, if Jim Ross can join the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club in Norman, Oklahoma, you can lose in your hometown. Jim Ross, the 3rd most respected in-ring announcer of all time, or play-by-play guy. Gordon Solie 1, Lance Russell 2, Jim Ross 3. Chris Cruz and Scott Hudson tied for 4th right alongside. I'm not going to go into the whole damn list. I'll do that later. So, yeah, you can lose in your hometown. You can take a bad spot in your hometown. You can look a little bit weak in your hometown. Because if you have faith in the person booking the matches, there's a good chance you're going to come back strong next week and everybody at home's going to hear about it. It's like, cool, he came back. But where the hell did the problem with the unearned ego, and I said unearned egos, come from?
Kim Kardashian.
Shoot her now. Just shoot her out of a cannon, let her go to the moon. The whole damn cotillion. If I never hear the word Kardashian again in my life, I'll be perfectly happy. While you're at it, just go ahead and strap Washington, D.C. onto that rocket and send it out of there also. I'm tired of hearing from them, too. I'm not talking politics. I'm just saying get them all out of there. I'm not going to say drain the swamp. I'm not a Florida Gator fan. Or Florida State. Well, I'm a Florida State Seminole fan sometime. Especially when they're playing Florida. Sorry, Schmitke. But see, I'm going to coming back to reality for a hot second. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Our industry revolves around the suspension of disbelief. How much are we expected to disbelieve? When you hit 43 high-impact, high spots in a row, and you win with a roll-up? Inside cradle, school bully? What? It comes down to another word. Are you ready for this one? You know what I'm about to say. Shane, you know what I'm about to say. Phil, you know what I'm about to say. Everybody who's listened to me before knows what I'm about to say. It's one word. Psychology. I don't...
Gasp.
Huh?
I said gasp.
Yeah, I know. Psychology. Sometimes I begin to wonder if some of the people in our own locker rooms don't understand the word psychology. Remember, there's an old phrase in this industry. You don't work for the pop. If the work is good...
Well...
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I had this discussion with someone who shall remain nameless. And they said, well, Shawn Michaels did moonsaults. He did super kicks. And I just wanted to pull what hair I don't have out because I am a Bald Brotherhood member. And I was like, Shawn Michaels knew how to work. He did one moonsault, one super kick, or maybe one or two high spots, especially later in his career. They were timed. They didn't open a match. They weren't in the first 30 seconds where it didn't mean anything. When Shawn Michaels did the moonsault out of the ring onto the table against Ric Flair, that stands out to me, which a lot of things do about that match being Flair's final WWE match, but right. I digress. It stood out because it was the only high spot in the match that he did. I mean, perfectly timed psychology, when to get your shit in.
I made a comment. This when I first started working with CZW 6 years ago. My first comment about the show was, I'm so done seeing super kicks to the head, and ace crushers, because 3 matches in a row, that was all that was in the match. And I'm like, I'm tired of that. It's repetitive. You shouldn't have it every match. Like, that doesn't make sense. You have to break it up. It has to be a mix of different styles. It has to be something that's different and showcased. And I said that to somebody, and they thought I was talking about a certain style of professional wrestling. And I'm like, no. It just has to do with the fact that it's repetitive. It's not the fact of anybody doing that. If one match had that in there, that's fine. If all of the matches have it in there, God help me. If everybody wants to leave the ring thinking that they're Davey Richards, it doesn't work. Like, you have to have a little bit of play on who you are as a person in the ring. And the only person who at the moment, again, this is 6 years ago, who seemed to kind of understand what I was saying was Sozio, who no longer wrestles, who used to wrestle as Niles Young, and Sami Callihan. And look at the success that Sammy's had. And he was like, I totally agree with you. It shouldn't be that kind of style. And it's like, it just drives me. It just drives me a little nuts. I have something else that's driving me nuts right now, but I'll talk about that later.
Let's just put. I'm going to put a capper on my part of this by saying one simple thing. Suspension of disbelief, when properly done, is very believable. It comes back to one that we've had the discussion on, to be determined and beyond Ringside Live. A DDT is not a double down unless it is at a certain point in time in the match where you can't get up for the pin.
whoever. Okay, I didn't want to pull back this curtain this far, but I'll fuck it.
Oh, no, that was an F-bomb. We were doing fecal references tonight.
So, all right, a friggin' double down does not necessarily have to mean both people are laying on the mat completely neutral and done because both of them hit something at the same time as the other person. It doesn't really mean that. Whoever came up with the term double down, I wish I could drag out into a woodshed in 1930 in when the Gold Dust Mafia was really a thing, drag them in that shed and beat them senseless and go, let's have a conversation. Just call it something else. It just means to go back to a neutral standing where it's believable now that both parties can generate the match to a point where either person could convincingly win. Really, that's all it is. It's back. It's back at equal standing.
I know.
But so many people don't. Think about the number of independent events you go on, and that there is almost a double clothesline in every single match.
Yep.
Guys.
But see, also, a top
don't even think. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
A top rope Hurricane Rana should be an ending. A top rope superplex should be an ending. And oh, for the love of God, a top rope power slam, especially if it's Mark Henry, Big Show, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, somebody with girth on him. Yeah, that should be a 3. But I see so many things happen from the upper elevations, and idiots kick out at 1. Much less 2 and 54/55.
You know what? I'm okay with that, though, sometimes. If it depends on how you string it. There was a match. It is a ladder match, which in itself is already, it's sticky, it's gimmicky, you got it. Okay. It's a ladder match. There is a belt suspended above the ring. 2 guys are trying to go for this belt. Of all the weird things, big high moment, everybody's really excited. I think the face had just knocked the heel off the ladder. By random happenstance, as he pushes the ladder over, he looks up at the belt. The belt falls off the rope that was holding it. Nothing hit the belt. It just was a random thing that happened. The belt falls, the face catches it. Like it was meant to be, and it couldn't have happened at a better moment in the match. And do you want to know what they did in this match?
Tell me.
They stopped everything dead cold, and they spent 5 minutes trying to figure out how to get this belt back up on the rope, and then restarted the match so they could do their last 2 minutes of the match for all the spots they had planned.
I'd kill him.
And guess who won the match?
You.
No, the face that caught the belt when it fell out of the sky.
There would be nothing wrong with ending the match right there and everybody shake hands, kiss babies, take a bow, and leave.
It should have.
It should have. I'd have fired everybody.
That could have told right then and there. It would have been amazing. Instead, they stopped.
And if I'm smart about this, look, if I'm out there in the middle of everything and this just happened, if I'm the heel, guess what? I'm going to walk over and slug the babyface as hard as I can, figuratively speaking, of course. Take the belt, start walking away, and hope the babyface has enough sense to come back and slug me back and take the belt so I powder out. It's like, okay, if you want to make one more emphatic moment, you don't I'd have fired everybody. That's just the kind of jerk I am. You're going to restart this after we've already had a win? Okay, if you want to call it an accident, that's fine. But if the babyface was supposed to get the damn belt and the belt just fell off, guess what? Match over, go home. It's the right beer now.
And I hate, maybe I should just breathe for a second, because I hate, me personally, I hate pulling the curtain back, but so far. And I tried to be protective, and I don't know why I'm in this mode. But
we all get that way sometimes. Remember where we are. I mean, Shane, I'm going to ask this question. You know the promoter at Peach State very well. You have lunch with him on a regular basis. How would he have handled that if that match would have happened under a Peach State roof?
I think that would have been the last time those two gentlemen met in a Peach State ring together.
I would have pulled the old.
That's the kind way of putting it.
I probably would have done a Bill Behrens and walk out with a chair and waylay everybody. Nope, it's my belt. Bye.
And while we're all soapboxing and ranting and raving, I want to throw some of those moves in there. The first one I ever noticed that I thought was a finisher that just got devalued was the DDT.
Right.
I can't stand for a DDT to be a falsy in a big-time match, okay. But in the first match or the second match of a 6 or 7 match card,
right,
and the DDT is hit in the opening 6 minutes to cut someone off, then we work 10 more minutes. I'm like, Jake Roberts spent over 2 decades establishing that thing as Good Night Irene, and you just pissed all over it.
It should never be the pivot point. Like I said, the only exception to the rule is if you are at a crucial point in the match where both people are weak and the person executing did it as a last-ditch effort to where they cannot move. Or if the recipient has enough presence of mind to accidentally roll out of the ring. If it's done very close to the ropes, that's one thing. Center of the ring, both people better be damn sure exhausted 24, 28 minutes into a 30-minute time limit match. Once again, psychology. It has to be believable. Sorry, folks, like I said, we're shooting on all cylinders tonight. Why? Because we can. And if you take umbrage with anything that we've said at any particular point in time, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. And, the chat room's open at BeyondRingside.com. I'll go look during the commercial break when I take my pants out of the washing machine, put them in the dryer.
I will gladly pivot if we need to pivot, because I'm in that place where I can just go if you want me to. So I offer that to you, sir.
It's a rare occasion when all three of us are cock-locked and definitely ready to open fire with a Gatling gun. I want the solid brass Gatling gun for Christmas. I don't care who gets it for me.
Well, and it became, I can't remember the exact point. I want to say somewhere around 2003-ish to 2005, somewhere in there, WWE, when the main event became make sure you kick out of each man's finisher. Now that's kind of become par for the course along the way on a lot of matches on the card, and especially on the independent circuit. I'm like, that was fun when The Rock kicked out of the Stunner and Stone Cold kicked out of the Rock Bottom, because we'd never seen it before. But now I hate it, because the guy that hits his first finisher and kicks out, I'm almost to the point where it's like, okay, this guy hits his finisher, he's going to kick out, and we're going to get the "this is awesome, holy shit, who's going to have the wherewithal to win it?" Yeah. It's just a pattern. I mean, finishers have just been, oh my God, that's annihilated. What gets me more than anything. There's a reason it's called a finish. Finish, completion, ending, done. The good Lord said after 7 days, it is finished, stuff like that. It's finish, not a setup. Not a continue 5 to 10 more minutes.
Right. Shower, steak and shake, let's go.
Right?
Hi, Mason.
I'm so glad I think I missed that reference.
No. The last show we all worked together over at Peach State, everybody started to hit that, yeah, steak and shake, come on, let's go. And one person in particular, no, it wasn't the referee Mason that I was talking about, it was somebody else. It's like, how close are we to getting out of here and going to steak and shake? It's like, look, kids, it ain't that damn good, okay?
That's the go home.
Huh?
It's the go. That's the go home. Steak and shake.
Hit the referee on the headset. Damn it. Go home. Go home.
So I'll gladly pivot since we have a nice little quiet point.
Go ahead.
Promoters who barely will respond in a conversation, who want to tag me in their event that I am not a part of, have nothing to do with, whatever. Promoters who have gone into my I get it if you tag me in something, okay, because guess what? People know me in the world of wrestling. Okay, neat. I have an independent wrestling calendar that I maintain. Okay, I get it. Maybe you're trying to do a simple way of trying to tell me. People who have gone into my personal photos, which I get it, it's on Facebook, so it's not super personal, but who just go into my photo albums and randomly as a comment leave a wrestling flyer or tag me to plug their event as a comment on one of my photos, what are you doing? Like, obviously there needs to be a conversation about what you were thinking about and how you are trying to promote. And especially if you're trying to get me to help you to do something like to put you on the independent wrestling calendar, which is a really simple thing to do. But if you're going to do a level of something like that, that's a little bit insane. Stan Grubb on Facebook Live is saying they're building business, brother. But I don't know. Is it just me? Like, that drives me insane. Like, if you want to book me, okay, fine, book me. Let's have a conversation. I will gladly enjoy the fact that I'm tagged on your event. I will share that sucker to death.
You almost said it.
What?
And he would have gotten the fecal reference in. We'd have gone hat trick on that one.
I wasn't going there. I really wasn't. I meant sucker. I wasn't going to go there.
Yeah, I get tickled at that one also. I'm stealing out from under you for a hot second, and Shane, go ahead and get ready. Because if I'm booked on your show, okay, it's one thing to tag when Beyond Ringside had a friends page. You could tag Beyond Ringside all day long. When Beyond Ringside had a friends page, I invited people to share upcoming events on the friends page and the fan page. And you know what the percentage of people who actually did was as it pertains to the world of pro wrestling? We got some stupid sons of bitches out there that don't understand the proper term marketing and sharing and promoting. When you have a nice big graphic,
yes. I'm telling something to somebody on Facebook Live. I'm sorry.
Hi, Facebook Live. How you doing? Because when I know out of 5,000 friends that 150 of them are promoters, bookers, that over 2,500 of them are wrestlers, workers, frontline in-ring talent, referees, announcers, all of the above. And maybe one person a week takes me up on that offer.
Right.
But yet they want to come over to my personal page and tag me in it. Excuse me, you ain't paying me. Just because, there's a difference between here we go, kids. The glasses just went flying by, Clark. There is a difference in social media between Fast Eddie Layne and Eddie Layne Powell. Eddie Layne Powell is my personal page. If you send me a friend request and I know you, accept. If we're doing business together in one capacity or another through Full Range Entertainment, Beyond Ringside Sports Radio, through Global Championship Wrestling, Peach State Wrestling Alliance, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, all of the above, Courtlow Media Distribution, Elvis Rob Productions, I'll go ahead and prove. But if you don't know me and I don't know you and we are having no communication before the friend request, you are not getting approved. You'll go Fast Eddie Wayne. Layne. How many people can I offend in one break?
There's a daily podcast I listen to called The Mike O'Mara Show, and on the show they have a racist alarm, and it's the Dukes of Hazzard horn. I wanted to play that really quick.
No. It was huge. No, but seriously, like I said, and you can, folks, if you liked Beyond Ringside Live, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, the invitation is always there. And like I said, if it's like with AWE, I'm doing a lot of stuff post-production with them now. And I'm getting back with that this coming Monday. But the fact of the matter stands, if you're not booking me on the show, don't use my personal page to try to advertise. Use the professional. You get a lot less crap coming back your way. Shane, real quick, come on, I'm taking your way. Comment?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, promoting the upcoming Peach State Wrestling Alliance event this Saturday, May the 20th. I was very careful to tag every person working the show.
Bingo.
I figured they are tagged. Friends and family need to know or can spread the word. Hey, where you at? What you got going on? Very careful not to tag wrestlers, workers that may have appeared the previous show or are upcoming. They're not on this particular individual event. And It also drives me crazy when I post something and a fan goes and tags themselves in my picture. And I'm like, what? What? You weren't even there. I mean, that's happened. Like, I don't even know you. Like, with Donna Hickenbottom. And I'm like, have we met? Do you come to Peach State? No, I don't. Why do you? No, remove tag. I don't
Exactly.
The picture was not with you. Yeah.
Now, I will say I'm that person who uses Facebook invites. Me personally, I'm not offended if I get invited to an event. I also know that is not an opportunity for a booking. That is not a promoter telling me, hey, Phil Stamper, I would like to book you for my show and please show up. It's an invite. Just like any invite in the world, I can say no, thank you, goodbye.
Right.
I don't like it. That's all it is. But the tagging, it boggles my mind. And and one of the promoters I confronted about this said to me, well, how else am I supposed to promote? I'm like, have you put up a single damn flyer?
See, here's the problem. Every time I go around and try to put up a flyer, somebody decides they want to go catch a fish and they use my flyer to wrap their fish up in. Get her done. I mean, I understand that Tommy Too Much has a big mouth, but I wanted to go ahead and use that big mouth on that big poster to wrap a big mouth bass.
So
I tried too hard for that one. Screw it.
Somebody asked a question, why don't more independent companies use Facebook Live as a way to broadcast their show?
I want that one.
Go for it.
I want that one.
Go for it.
I am all in favor of a company broadcasting a match or an unscheduled pre-show match. Like, okay, AWE does a VIP pre-show, and then they kick over for everybody else who bought general admission and reserved seats. They will do two different tapings, technically. One taping, all it's together. But if you have the budget to where you want to put a match before the show officially starts and use a Facebook Live tag on that or broadcast Facebook Live, that's great. If you're doing a convention or if you're doing a meet and greet, that's great. Put it on Facebook Live. Show everybody what they're missing. But here's my complaint. Sooner or later, the psychology, there's that word again, changes when a company puts broadcast live every match on or the main event, by God, on Facebook Live. What is that telling the people who just paid $10, $15, $25, $30 to come sit ringside? I could sit at home and watch this ish on Facebook. No, for the love of God, hell effing no. But like I said, opening match, do it. But never a title match, never a huge blow-off match, and never your main event. If you've got a strong curtain, broadcast that one live on Facebook Live and then or on YouTube and show everybody what they're missing by not being there live. But please, for the love of all that is intelligent above the level of dried wallpaper paste, don't ever broadcast your entire show on Facebook Live. Please. It gives people the mentality, eventually it does, I swear it does, that they won't pay to come see your show because they can sit home with a bowl of Cheetos and a 20-ounce soda pop and watch it on their computer screen. I'm done.
And you know what? That's fair because I kind of have a slightly different opinion. I'm mixed. I'm very mixed because I do think it depends on the promotion. I do think it depends on the audience and the market you have, which means you have to pay attention to your crowd. Because there's a company I work for, Grand Slam Wrestling, that does do their entire event on Facebook Live. But they're also using it right now as the way to use it as a tool to market the company. And they're also using it as a way to pivot a platform for a new wrestling video network called Powerbomb TV.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And actually, since they've started doing that, the attendance at the live events has actually increased.
Okay.
Now, but I'm going to pivot off of that because MCW Pro Wrestling does select Facebook Live matches. For the benefit of MCW, I think that is the smart choice for MCW because of the kind of crowd that we have and the kind of audience that we draw.
MCW averages what, between 1,000 and 1,400 a show?
About that, yeah.
Grand Slam averages how many per show?
About 150, 200.
Thank you.
Right. Depends on your audience, your location, the kind of crowd you want, the kind of crowd you're getting. And the way I look at it, because I do lean more towards the style, though, of what you just mentioned, for the same reason that WWE says that they give out free matches before a pay-per-view, is not that they're diminishing the quality of the match. They want those matches to be what turns people who are on the fence as to whether or not they're going to get the pay-per-view or watch, to get them to watch based on the quality of those pre-matches. Now, whether or not WWE really means that, I don't know. But I think independent events have benefited off of doing it that way. It makes, I mean, for like I said, for MCW, it has worked. It's garnered so much attention. And I do think that has pivoted into people attending live events, or going, oh, I have to keep in mind when they're going to have events or when their big events are, because we're going to try to make it to go, because maybe they've seen somebody in one of the Facebook Live matches. Maybe they're just hearing us because now we've generated this kind of buzz. Or like with a Grand Slam, wow, I had so much fun watching this entire event. Look at what I saw. I want to go down there and experience this live. And I mean, for both companies, what it also does is provide an opportunity for people who are not in that immediate area. And Joey Image just said the same thing. If you're not in that immediate area, okay, what is this I keep hearing about this company or that company? Oh, wait a minute, who is this guy that I'm seeing now for the first time? It's also a way that those independent talents, I didn't mean independent wrestling, I just meant individual talents, can then now take that and also use that as an opportunity to market themselves, because that video exists. It can be taken and used as a tool. It can be taken as one of your matches that you share with other people. Some people, and Michael Loving, some people may not want to drive from different states to an event. I mean, gas is not cheap. I get that. I get that too.
Okay.
So it is a mix. I think you do have to have a mix. Again, you have to be aware of your audience and crowd.
And the one thing that I'll do before I toss to Shane, we got a 4-minute warning real quick. If there is a way to block IP addresses within a certain physical realm, i.e. location, then outside that IP address, sure, no problem. If I'm doing a show in Carrollton, Georgia, and somebody in Dallas, Texas wants to watch it, I can understand that. What's the odds of them coming to Carrollton? I don't know. What's the odds of them buying a DVD from a show in Carrollton? Much better. But if I'm doing a show in Carrollton and somebody in Douglasville, Georgia, 20 minutes up the road wants to watch it, bring your happy ass down to Carrollton on a Saturday night and pay the money. Hi there, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad to meet you. I'm sorry for doing it like that. Shane Noles, you get the last word on this segment.
I agree with that. I think, unfortunately, in our neck of the woods, as I see companies do this, that give away 1, 2, or 3 matches, you get the mindset of sit at home, enjoy a cold beverage, don't do that, which is a very difficult landscape, because at the end of the day, and this should put a good bow, hopefully, on everything we've talked about, no matter how much the wrestling business changes, one thing that will not change is you've got to have people buying tickets to support the live product. No matter how much you give away, no matter how much is available not at the venue that you're running, if you've got 500 people watching on Facebook Live and 40 people in the house, that's not a good financial template to work with. And I'm throwing out crazy numbers there, but I am in favor of it. But I'm like you. I think if we were able to put a filter as far as location, to where those that were within, say, an hour radius wouldn't be able to do it. But
Thank you.
Someone in, say, Seattle, Washington wanted to watch, by all means.
Mm-hmm. John Walter just said something that he's the promoter of Northern Tier Wrestling. He's trying to use social media and YouTube as a promotional tool as much as he can, and that's the smart thing to do. Oh my gosh, that is such a tremendous aspect on what you utilize to try to help build your market. And Bernie, what Bernie is saying right now, who's a member of MCW Pro Wrestling, talk with people from of course he scrolled up, talk with people from Fredericksburg, Virginia, West Virginia, and Central Pennsylvania before MCW shows that said they came to the event because they saw the pre-show from an earlier event on Facebook Live, and it made them interested now to come check us out.
Well, see, once again, pre-show, no problem. Love it. I mean, once again, I believe in the tease. Look, I've worked. Oh, shit. Here we go. By the way, there went that filter tonight, huh?
Right. Well, and really quick, one thing I'm going to caveat with Grand Slam Wrestling is there is a way to use Facebook Live more than just using your phone to capture an image. You can buffer it through a studio that is on your desktop
Right.
and then feed it through the Facebook Live system.
Right.
There is a way to do that. That's a little bit outside my personal technical expertise, but there are people that can do that. And that's what some people are trying. If you are doing that and utilizing it the way you would like a live television broadcast, that is amazing and that is awesome. I hope you are using Facebook Live as the appropriate tool, just like any social media that you use, that you're capturing it the right way and showing it off the right way.
Right.
Because I will say that there was a television product. This company no longer exists. It was Covey Pro in West Virginia. They were typically pretty bad. But the thing and the thing is that made them bad, that made them look really bad, was they used a camera that looked like it was filmed in 1995. And it was so far back and it was fish-eyed, which meant the screen is disproportioned a little bit. And it's like zoomed up in the middle and sort of faded out in the back, and it's discolored around the edges. It was just so bad, and it made them look bad on television. It made people think of a negative towards their product, and they had television.
Do me a favor.
Yes.
We're going to hold this, and we're going to carry it through past the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and take the top of the hour break. For everybody listening live, we are coming back for hour number 2. For everybody catching us on replay, especially YouTube, once again, BeyondRingside.com, the station, ProWrestlingRadio.net, the station, TuneIn Radio app, cross-platform, Beyond Ringside Radio app for Amazon, Android, and BlackBerry mobile devices. Also, once again, we're live on Ustream tonight as well. We're not doing video on Ustream. Phil's got that covered on Facebook Live, I do believe, right?
Yes, I do.
Okie dokie. Folks, tell you what, hang with us. We're going away for 5. The Shooters Gallery will return right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
This is the voice of excellence at Excellent Professional Wrestling at Not the Tool Man, Tim Taylor. Usually I'm locked into Excellent Professional Wrestling, but now you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
This is the 7-figure deal, Ace Rockwell. And as long as Wicked Nemesis isn't on the show, please listen. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
The board is war, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Man Run, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Hi, this is Shane Noles of the Peach State Wrestling Alliance, and right now you are locked and loaded listening live to Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
I'm addictive. I'm expensive. I'm Byron Wilkine. And ladies, Big Daddy Yum Yum is locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Hello again, everybody, and this is Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Radio for the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Join us every Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, Rob Hefner, and Brian Taylor as we bring you our thoughts and feelings on the world of professional wrestling and everything in between. As my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks again for listening to the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Awesome Austin Creed, the smartest man in this industry called pro wrestling, the valedictorian of this business. You are locked in to Beyond Ringside.